Matthew 5:6, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. Now, Matthew 5:6 is the fourth in a list of beatitudes that Jesus presented in his famous Sermon on the Mount that can be found in Matthew's Gospel, chapters 5 through 7. And Jesus started off each beatitude with the word blessed, meaning essentially happiness. Happy are those who do such and such. That being said, however, the happiness that Jesus was talking about was much more than just a surface emotion. The happiness that Jesus presents in the Beatitudes, the pathway, it's 180 degrees opposite to the way the world would think is the secret to finding happiness. For example, in his first Beatitude, he said, blessed are the poor in spirit, meaning happy are those who acknowledge that they are sinners and in need of God. Definitely not something that our world would say is a secret to finding true happiness. Or his second beatitude, blessed are those who mourn. In other words, happy are those who are grieved over sin. Or his third beatitude, blessed are the meek, meaning happy are those who essentially don't gain their happiness by stealing it from someone else's. And so in Matthew 5:6, Jesus said, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, meaning happy are those who pursue the things of God. Definitely not something that our world would say is a secret to finding lasting happiness. Hi everyone, I'm Mark Leeming, helping you think biblically in a brief amount of time with a new video each and every Thursday. So if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing and don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right then, Matthew 5:6. Here's three things that I want us to quickly look at together. The first is the imagery that Christ used in this beatitude, that we are to hunger and thirst after the things of God. Food and water, of course, being the most essential things to life. Without them, we will die. And when our body is in need of those things, we begin to crave them. And in a similar way, Jesus is saying that we need to crave, we need to hunger, we need to thirst after the things of God. Now, I realize that this may not be the most perfect example or illustration, but over the past several months, I've been on a low-carb diet. No breads, cereals, pastas, those sorts of things. But fortunately for me, this Monday, it is all over. And do you know what I have been craving? The first thing that I'm going to have Monday morning with my coffee? Toast. That's right, toast. I don't know why, but that's just what I've been craving. Again, that may not be the best illustration, but I think you get the point. As Christians, as followers of Christ, we need to crave the things of God. Now, that's not to say that there will not be seasons in our spiritual walk. I experience them where we're spiritually apathetic, where we don't really feel like doing the things of God. And yet, in the big scheme of things, if we do not thirst, if we do not hunger, if we do not crave the things of God, then there's something seriously wrong. The second point is that even the desire to do the things of God can become so easily perverted and twisted. We can so easily go off track. Remember that Christ's harshest critics, the religious leaders, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the teachers of the law. If you lived back then, just judging by outward appearances, they would appear to be the most righteous people of all. They had all kinds of ceremonies and rituals that they meticulously followed. They donated their time and money. They knew their scriptures forwards and backwards. And yet, they weren't doing it for the right reasons. They weren't doing it to be right before God, but rather only to appear righteous before others. They had a problem with being self-righteous. They wanted to be holier than thou. And that can be a danger when we have a craving for the things of God. We need to be aware that our desire to be righteous doesn't turn into a craving to be self-righteous. And the third point is that we need to watch out for the self-righteous Pharisees of our woke culture today. As the saying goes, the more things change, the more they remain the same. And it's no different for us today. Jesus himself lived in a cancel culture. The cultural elites, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the teachers of the law, they were so consumed with wanting to appear righteous in the eyes of others that they became zealots in punishing the unrighteousness of others, because you see, that's how the self-righteous mind works. The more scalps of the infidels and heretics you can get, the more prestige you get in the eyes of others. And we see this being played out in our woke culture today, don't we? Especially on social media. Who can be the first to denounce something? Who can appear to be the most outraged and most angered over something that someone has tweeted that only yesterday was considered perfectly acceptable? And this same self-righteous, angry spirit is catching on like wildfire in many of our churches today. This woke spirit is flooding into so many sanctuaries today. But that is not the righteousness that we are to crave for, that we are to thirst for, that we are to hunger for. We definitely will not be blessed. We will not be happy if we crave that poison. Now, if you haven't watched the first 3 in the series on the Beatitudes, the end card should be just over there right now. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. Thanks so much, and I hope to see all of you next Thursday. Bye for now.